Good morning. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you for finding me. If it is not your first time, thank you for coming back. Please do subscribe to this channel, like, and turn on the notifications so you know whenever I go live. So I am live both on Facebook and on YouTube. Guys, let's open up some discussion. Ooh wee, mama been busy this morning. I had to serve up some spiritual truth bombs. I had to serve it up. Haven't done that in a long time. Basically what had happened was, without mentioning names, getting too far into detail, there was an individual that I don't know on Facebook. I'm not too sure how we became Facebook friends, but I do enjoy their posts. They're pretty funny. They are funny, actually. Very witty, very much a show of like a very advanced level of intelligence. And so I thoroughly enjoy the posts. For the most part, I don't interact. I just see it, I laugh. Sometimes I like it, and then I keep going. Well, a few weeks back, I think it was, I'm not too sure when at this point, in the not so distant past, I had seen one of the posts, and I was in one of my moods where I was like really sarcastic and really freaking in a weird, humorous mood. And so I commented. It was a stupid joke. It was, the way I commented it was clear that it was a very stupid joke. And then the girlfriend or the fiance, she comes in with guns blazing, addressing me. And I was like, okay, she clearly misunderstood. It was a joke. And, I was trying to smooth the ruffled feathers, and she just kept at it. And I was just like, boo, it's a joke. Like, maybe it was a stupid joke, but it was a joke. Like, don't be so pissed. I'm not trying to get at your man. I'm married. I'm very happily married, trying to just smooth things over. And I kind of left it at that. Yeah, I left it at that. And then this morning I see a post, same individual, and it's like they're wondering how come now that they're in a relationship, no one's really interacting with them. There's a huge drop in the interactions. And I could have probably left it alone. But I didn't. I was honest. And I was like, maybe it's just me, but personally speaking, the one time that I did comment on one of your posts, I was like so aggressively interacted with, and not by you. And he's like, was it a vegan? I was like, I don't dare ask if she was a vegan, but it was a bad joke. I think I told a bad joke and it went sour. And like, he knew exactly what I was talking about. And I was like, yeah. And then she caught wind. She caught wind that I commented this morning. And so for the past, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, we've been having this exchange on that post. But this time, I let her have a taste of me. This time I wasn't interested in not ruffling others. This time I was like, I'm going to be your mirror. And she was trying to get aggressive, throw her weight around, and like basically intimidate me into getting quiet. Boo-boo. There's nothing passive about this Asian. Nothing passive here. The last time you got a free pass disrespecting me because I have respect for your man. And for me personally, if I have respect for you, everyone that you love, everyone that matters to you will get an extension of the respect that I have for you, regardless of how I feel about them, because I really had no respect for the girlfriend, the fiance. But still, I have respect for him. So I was like, you know what, I'll be quiet already, I'll stop. But this time I was like, you know what? You're trying to dominate a sovereign man's space. And so we were going at it for a little bit, and she was like, she couldn't get her way. And I was like, if he wants to unfriend me, I totally respect that. I'm fine with that. Perfectly okay with it. As long as you know, you don't get to tell me what to do. You don't dictate whether I'm here or not. You're passive aggressive. You're emotionally manipulative. And it totally got this whole thing started in my head because, you know, I don't even know how we got on the topic of it. My husband came up. The topic of my husband came up. My husband and I, we have been together, no breaks, no timeouts, for 20 years. Okay. 20 years, we have been monogamous. No cheating, no nothing. We have been monogamous for 20 years. And I value that man so deeply, so deeply. And I see this going on, and I'm like, wow, man, how can you claim to love this man and treat him this way publicly, dominating, trying to lay claim? And that was one of the comments was like, I wouldn't fight this hard for something that's already mine. And you don't own him. He's with you because he finds some sort of value. He sees value in you. You don't own him. He chooses to be with you. And then it goes back to, I didn't say I own anyone. Oh, you did. You did. And you don't own anyone. Just like I stay with my husband, not because it's convenient, not because I have to, not because I'm stuck. I stay because I choose to, just like he chooses to. And that's the most beautiful thing about a sacred union, is when you both choose each other every single day. And some days, one will be annoyed and will consider, like, why am I even here? And it's in those moments, the other has to have enough love to carry both through and take turns doing this for each other. That's the most beautiful, healthy relationship you could have. Acknowledgement that in that imperfection, you are rising in love. It's easy to fall. It's really, really easy to fall in love. You know, being a Pisces, that is just like, that's easy. That's easy. Before my husband, I would get infatuated with people very easily. But you're lucky if you keep my attention past a week or two. You're lucky if you get to hold my hand. Oh, and that's another thing. She couldn't dominate me. She couldn't get me to shut up and be scared and back down. And I was still speaking civil. And she called me a slut. I'm like, look here, backwoods. I'm a motherfucking CEO. I have all day to devote to you and holding this mirror in front of your face, if need be. I will reschedule my entire day. I will go ahead and have my personal assistant reschedule all of my appointments so that I could devote this time to teaching you this soul lesson that you clearly need to learn today. I'm just like, boo. I was nice before. Not because I felt you deserved my respect, but because I felt your fiance, who you clearly don't respect, definitely deserved it. So what is it? What is it that we are doing, if we're needing to go on posts and claim our boyfriend or girlfriend, claim our fiance, what is it that we're doing? Are we in a relationship? Or is this like some childish, that's mine, that's mine? Because I don't know. My husband is not mine. My heart is his. I gift it to him, But is his heart mine? I can't own something that's sovereign. He can choose to gift me his love. He can choose to gift me his presence in my life, in my journey. He can gift me his support. Y'all are going to keep hearing my phone. Let me just shut this down. And, another beautiful thing about this exchange, I said to her, it shows your lack of intelligence to resort to name calling. Not once did I have to utter the word bitch, with you so clearly displaying with your own actions that you are one. Level up your intelligence if you want to go at it with me. But what's beautiful about this exchange, and I'm actually really thankful to her for gifting me with that moment of cattiness, because I don't like to admit even to myself that I am actually a CEO. I don't admit to myself and to most people how much I've accomplished in such a short time. I continue to exist in this delusional state of I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm so much more than just a stay-at-home mom. And it's time I'm honest with myself about that. I'm so much more than just a stay-at-home mom. And in her trying to tear me down, it was like, no, let me flex a little for you. I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. I'm self-made. You're not tearing me down. Nothing you say hurts me because you don't set my worth. I determine my worth. You can agree or you can disagree, but you don't set that value. I do. And I'm teaching you what I will allow, how I will allow you to treat me. And so if you apply that to relationships, what does that tell you? If the one you love is treating you in a way that is not in alignment with the way you want to be treated, what does that tell you? Are you allowing it? It's not a question of, do you deserve to be treated poorly? It's not a question of, do you deserve to be treated that way? What are you allowing? Because, maybe my husband is just the exception to the rule. I don't know. Maybe he'll be upset with me sharing this, but he's called his former girlfriend a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, fucking bitch. I was like, whatever. You chose that girl. What you mean a fucking bitch? You chose the drama with her. Like this was earlier on when we were first dating. He was telling me about this girl. And I was just like, how is she a bitch when you chose the drama with her? You chose to continue that shit. But never once. 20 years. That's a long ass time. With the kind of attitude that I have, I can get real salty. Not once has he ever called me a bitch. Because he knows there are certain things I will not tolerate. You can get loud with me. You can get aggressive and in my face. But the moment you trigger certain things, those are deal breakers. And we have that understanding. Like, I get real crazy. Okay, I get real crazy with him, real upset. And the moment He called me by my first name. Oh, shit. I took it too far. I'm in a crumpled heap, sobbing. Oh my God, I took it too far. He doesn't even have to yell it. And the more calm he says it, the more of a crumpled, sobbing heap I become. Because he has taught me what he will tolerate and not tolerate. And there's a very real need for give and take. I don't even see it as a giving and a taking. I see it as a sliding back and forth. It's a sliding scale of firm and soft. And that's what a real healthy relationship does. It slides between firm and soft. You can't always be firm. You can't always be soft. You can't always stay in the middle because sometimes the boat gets rocked and your center of gravity changes. So what do you do? What do you do? First off, I get my liquid liner because my eyes are ridiculously puffy this morning. And I start lining my eyes. Give me 1 second. So today I don't believe in washing my face. I don't believe in washing my face. I believe in putting on eyeliner to cover the fact that I didn't wash my face. But yeah, what do you do? How do you hold on to a relationship where one person is just digging their claws into you? How does that work? Ooh, that's deep. So Mamie says, my husband used to work in the service industry and was constantly being hit on by women who were, by our cultural standards, far more attractive than me, running around in swimsuits. People would ask me if I was concerned or jealous or why I didn't ask him to get a different kind of job. And I always responded that a relationship was grounded in far more than surface level attraction. And that if he couldn't trust him, if that I couldn't trust him, then we shouldn't be together. Amen to that. Amen to that. Amen. Amen. For quite a few years, I actually was a self-taught makeup artist slash fashion and editorial photographer. And agencies would contract me to help their new models develop portfolios because I specialized in portfolio development. I would teach them how to find their angles and their light and all of that. And, at that time, I was very, very hefty, very, very hefty, like over 200 something pounds. And I'm only 5'3". So I was very heavy. I felt very unattractive. And in that line of work, I would always bring my husband and my son with me when we would shoot on location, which we always shot on location. And so these gorgeous, gorgeous women who were my clients would be around my husband half naked. And I had no problem with it. There was never an issue of like, oh my God, is he looking? Like, no, she's gorgeous. Look at her form. It's beautiful. Look at the lines that her body can make. Look at the grace of the structure of her face. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Of course you should look. Now, if you want that, then you don't have to be with me. That's fine. I'm not going to cling on to you. I love you enough to give you the freedom to decide for yourself, do you want to be with me or do you want to be with someone else? Because if you want to be with someone else, I'm not going to hold you back. But I'm also not going to sit here and make you miserable because I'm not secure in myself. And the beautiful thing about that, the reason I was so secure in myself is because he never gave me a reason to feel as though I needed to not be. You see what I'm saying? He met me at the size that I am now. That's when we first started dating. And yeah, he clearly found me very attractive. And then over the years, I went through severe, severe depression. I just realized I didn't do my other eye. I went through very severe depression. And after we had our first child, I had gained over 100 pounds. I got real sick and I gained over 100 pounds. And I didn't lose that weight for about 14, 15 years. And at no point in that time did he ever make me feel unattractive. Ever. Ever. There was never even a moment where he tried to encourage me to lose weight for healthy reasons. Ever. Ever. And I hate to think that he's just an exception to this. I would hate to think that he is. Because I think that if more people loved in the way that he does, the level of healing would be profound. I totally credit him. It's crooked. The level of healing that I experienced simply because of his love is profound. I know you're sisters and you're not twins, but I don't like this at all. That's the best you're going to get, guys. That is the best you're going to get from me this morning. Okay. But anyways, I credit him with single-handedly healing most of the fractures within my heart. I credit him with that. I totally credit him with that. And he didn't do it by force. He didn't. He did it quietly. Like a thief through the night, he did it silently. He helped me to realize I deserve to be loved that way. This wasn't something that I already had in my head. This was something that he taught me over the course of 20 years, that I deserve to be loved so unconditionally. Because I didn't grasp it at first. I mean, I've never had a boyfriend call me the B word ever, because I will fucking cut you. I've never had the typical female experiences with being treated poorly by men. Yeah. I've always only ever had boyfriends just like, please don't leave. Please. I'm just like, I'm just done. I'm sorry. Time to move on. And I think maybe because I had such like a guy's perspective on relationships, I was so very guarded. And it was always like, no, you're not going to play me like other girls. I'm sorry. I see where this might go. And I just know I'm not going to play that with you. Sorry, we're done. You know? And he had to teach me, like, no, you don't do that. Some people, you can do that. With him, no, you don't do that. We don't just throw away something that we're building together, you know? And that is such a divine, divine sacred union. Mimi says, I think you have to love yourself to be able to love others in that way. And sadly, we live in a society that makes self-love extremely difficult. That's very true. That's very true. And what if you don't have to love yourself? You just have to be in the process of accepting that you have to begin loving yourself. Because, you know, I can't say that I always exist in a state of self-love. There are days where there's not much self-love up in this house. I don't got that much self-love. But it's on those days where I notice my husband doesn't necessarily point it out. He doesn't just like, hey, look, you're not self-loving today. Instead, he's like, you know what? Have you eaten yet? And he'll just make me something to eat. Or, you know, he'll start, hey, come sit down. I want to give you a back rub. Why don't we just take a moment and let's just sit down? You know, things like that, where those little moments I've finally learned after being together for so long, that's his way of very gently reminding me to come back to center. Like, hey, you're getting frazzled. Hey, you're overwhelmed. Kind of like a child. It's kind of like dealing with a child who doesn't realize that they need a nap. It's kind of like that. And so maybe what we need is for someone outside of ourselves. And that's what gets us to begin truly digging into that self-love, digging through that box of self-love, you know? Because and you know, I'm going to be completely honest. I now function in such a way where it's like, I really don't care if I eat or not. You know, like, yeah, I'm just too busy. I don't have time for that. But he'll notice and he'll be like, hey, take a minute. I need you to sit down. And I'll be like, no, I'm busy. I have to do this and this. And he's like, no, sit down. You didn't eat yet. And I'm like, no, I did. And he's like, no, you didn't. I cook all your food. You didn't eat. And I was like, oh, I didn't. So, yeah, it all comes down to, what are you allowing? What are you allowing? Because for a long time, much of our arguments was because I wouldn't allow him to love me in the way that he felt I deserved. I wouldn't let him buy me things. When we first started going out, I totally would spoil him rotten, buying him things, but I wouldn't let him buy me anything, because that was one of my biggest, like, I guess, I don't know, struggles was, if you buy me something, then suddenly you feel like you own me in some way. So I would rather be without than have that confusion, have you put that expectation on me. And it took him a very long time to help me heal that. It took me a very, very long time because I fought him so much on it. And, you know, it's so weird, because despite having that kind of personal struggle, trust issue, when we got pregnant with our oldest, I actually had to quit my job. And ever since then, I haven't had 9-to-5 job. It's 18 years at this point. 18 years I haven't had a 9-to-5 job. And he just never complained. At no point did he ever say, you need to find a job. I'm tired of being the only one working. At no point. I mean, that's just, it's like, wow. Because he knew, he knew if he ever said that kind of stuff to me, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm going to go to work. I'm never going to forgive you for saying that to me. Ever. Ever. I'm never, ever, ever going to forget that in that moment, that was your way of telling me that I'm a burden. I'm never going to forget that. And I'm never going to trust you again. But he sees all of these subtleties. Love is not about telling someone what is broken, what needs to be fixed, the ways in which you can fix it for them. It's just noticing the subtleties of their mood, noticing these little things, these little indicators that tell you they need a little more love today. Today, we need to be a little more gentle. Today, we need to be a little more firm. Today, we need to just give them some space. Today, I don't need to take it personal that they're having a bad day. And sometimes in understanding the subtleties of their behaviors, because when I'm going through things, I get real quiet, real quiet. There has been times where I've basically stopped talking for days at a time. And he just like, all right, he'll try and engage me in conversation. And it's just like, that's the most he'll get out of me. And he'll be like, all right. There's no guilting. No guilting involved. There's no guilting. But when it does get out of hand, when I've been silent for too long, he will sit me down and be like, look, you have to start talking. You have to start talking. I think Crystal Renee, the Noble, I think you jinxed me. She wrote, do not apply makeup if planning to cry. No. But there are times when you need the person you love to do more than give you space. Because there's times when we put those walls up, and those walls go up simply because we want and need to know who loves us enough, who cares enough to look over the wall. And maybe this can extend beyond just a romantic relationship. Maybe we can extend this logic to all of our relationships and friendships. Maybe, where, hey, so-and-so's gotten quiet. Maybe they need someone to kind of just be like, knock, knock, just knocking on your wall, making sure you're still in there. Because, some stuff is asking, is this a twin flame chat? No, this is a sacred union chat. Twin flames aren't the only sacred unions. They're not. But what are you guys' thoughts? What makes a union sacred? What makes a union sacred? Like, what is our definition of sacred? It's a harmonious union chat. There we go. There we go, Crystal. What makes a union sacred? Like, I want to know what you guys think. Is it What label you can affix to the union? Is it who you think they are to you? Because most people, I have found that most people who are convinced that they are with their twin flame is actually wrong, has actually made a mistake. Hate to say it. Actually, that's a lie. I don't care. I don't care enough to not say it. Like, no, we're not playing that game. So Tracy says, two people honoring each other's highest good. That's a nice definition. Honoring each other's highest good. Catherine Oracle says, love, respect, and trust. Nikki Brooks, white folks like to create drama. Drives me insane. Me too. Me too. It's because they're addicted to it. Not to create excuses, what I've recognized is sometimes if your childhood, all you experience is drama, conflict, arguing, disharmony, then your brain gets programmed to expect that. It suddenly becomes like a benchmark of what you deem appropriate and healthy, regardless of how unhealthy it is. I've noticed that. And that was one of the things that really, really affected my relationship in the beginning, is because I didn't see the kind of, and I didn't experience the kind of like narcissistic abuse that I witnessed growing up. So it's kind of like, I don't think he really loves me. I don't think he really loves me. I think he's just kind of trying to see if he can lock me down. I don't think so. And it really took him fighting for me to recognize he is not the demons in my closet. He can never reflect that because he comes from a very, like, his family life, like his parents are just very, very amazing. His dad is just an amazing, amazing man. Amazing man. And that's what he learned. You know, he learned to be the kind of man that he is from his own father. And it's just like a stark difference between our fathers. Very stark. And so it's, I don't know, it was just crazy. The dynamic in the beginning was crazy because let's face it, I can get real cray cray. The level of my aggression and all of that, yeah, it's very indicative of what I witnessed as a child. And it's the opposite of what he witnessed as a child. I mean, his parents never argued in front of him. You know, they never did. And I always just witnessed a very aggressive, masculine, dominating. And so that's what I know. That's just what I know. And he comes in and he shows me this like ridiculously beautiful, soft grace. And for a large portion of our relationship, I did not understand the level of strength it takes to be that kind of person. Because I'd get real aggressive and be like, that's weakness. You're so weak. That's weakness. Don't let people do that to you. And he's like, people are who they are. You don't got to fight everybody. They're who they are. You don't got to cut everyone out. It's not always you against the entire world. And I was just like, that's weak. But I learned though. I learned that what he was trying to show me and tell me is actually truth. It's rooted in truth, the truth of creation, what the way in which I was existing. Um, it was rooted in fear. I had to have that level of aggression because I was afraid that if I didn't, it would be seen as a sign of weakness, and then you'd really go after me. But my husband is just like, they're just who they are. They're a dick. Let them be a dick. Just get past it. And then I'm like, but no, we gotta show them. He's like, you know, show people shit. People are who they are. They don't give a fuck what you say. If they're a dick, they don't care what you say. Stop wasting your time on them. And I'd just be like, no, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show, and you know, how did that grow me? In what way did that grow me? It didn't. It kept me in a perpetual cycle. The same hamster wheel from childhood. It kept me on a perpetual cycle. And I recognized after a certain amount of time being in a sacred union with the love of my soul, he didn't tell me to get off the hamster wheel. He took the nuts and bolts off that wheel. And he was like, you want to run? Go ahead and fucking run. But I'm dismantling the wheel. And so there's no more wheel. There's no more wheel. I mean, Lisa says, my dad is so passive and it's crazy. Don't get me wrong. He's not passive. My husband's not passive. Ooh, he's not passive. With me, he's gentle. With me, he's very, very gentle. But other people, he's just like, I don't owe you shit. You know, like with anyone that means something to me, he'll definitely show the same level of respect. He recognizes the way I function in that, you know, if I have love for you, then everything you love now has love for me too. But we're very opposite, very, very opposite. He's not, he's not passive. For me, he is, not everyone else. So, you know, it's this recognition, though, that when you're in a sacred union, you grow each other. You grow each other. Because I've seen the ways in which he has grown being with me, being exposed to my thought process, to my perception of the way relationships are supposed to work. And we're growing together. It's such a beautiful, beautiful journey where we recognize we don't need each other. We want each other. You know, he's very much my equal in every single way. For many years, I was a stay-at-home mom and he would go to work and I took care of everything. And now he's like, you know, you're doing something seriously beautiful for humanity with the work that you do. And so he's devoted his life to supporting me. He really, really has. And so what he did, he quit his job. He took that leap of faith and he was like, I know you got this. I know you got this. And I need you to know that I got this too. Meaning he can handle taking care of the children the way in which I took care of them. Because you guys, I'm a little bit cray-cray as a mom. We homeschool. I'm very particular with the way my children are spoken to, you know, treated, the foods they eat, what they watch, their schedule. Like, I'm really particular. And he really helped me to learn, calm down. They're not projects. They are living, breathing, sovereign human beings. Just relax. because I used to be like, all right, you have to have skin treatments in the morning, bathe at night. You get even a speck of food on your clothing, you have to change it all out. The entire outfit has to be changed because you can't be dressed like that. You have to be dressed appropriately. Everything matching. Appropriate outfits from the bib to the socks to the everything. And he helped me to learn, like, hey, you know what? These are my issues. These are my control issues. Who am I to be forcing onto other human beings these control issues? And he didn't say it in that way. He didn't even have to say it. Instead, hey, I'll take care of the kids. Go do whatever you need to do. Just chill. They'll be fine. And there was a time, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, my issues with control were so intense that I didn't even trust him to babysit the children. And it took my cousin who like grew up like a sister. She's like a sister to me. And she's like, you're a fucking crazy bitch. I was like, fuck you. What you mean I'm a crazy bitch? She's like, you're such a crazy bitch. I'm like, why? She's like, I have never seen a man be able to handle all those goddamn kids by himself. You got to give him more credit than that. And I was like, what? I give him credit. She goes, no, you don't. And I was like, I do. And she goes, no, you don't. When do you ever leave him alone with the kids? He can handle all those goddamn kids. And I'm like, okay. See, he's on. Yes. But that's a beautiful thing. Honey, we're talking about sacred unions and relationships. And I was talking about how all these years together, we were finally at a point where I just feel so strongly we are absolute equals, you know, for everything. Like, I know that you have it in you to be able to be the sole breadwinner. I also know you have it in you to be a stay-at-home dad and completely take care of the kids. He said, I really like you. I really like you too. And he knows that I have it in me to be the sole breadwinner. And also I have it in me to completely be a stay-at-home mom and just focus solely on our kids. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to be who you are and still be accepted exactly as you are, be supported, be loved, without someone attempting to dominate your space, dominate this or that, tell you what to do. See, sometimes I find myself kind of suggesting that he do this or that. He's like, shut the fuck up. And then he's like, okay, so what do you really mean? What do you really mean? What are you trying to say? And then I'm totally like, I don't know. Let's look at the comment. Let's see. Okay. Claudia says, I'm so glad you're sharing and explaining this. Oftentimes we are led to believe we should not attempt to be in a relationship until we have fully learned to love ourselves completely. And while I understand it is important for me personally, it's a continuous and lifelong struggle. I've always wondered if that means that those of us who struggle with self-love are destined to be alone. And Melissa says, I don't think so. Sometimes those people help us through the journey, but you have to start with knowing that you need to work on this aspect or more awareness and work together. Yeah. And she says, and honestly, I don't think you can know if you are until you are in a relationship, because whereas a mirror if you aren't. Yep. Right now I'm whole and good and full of self-love, but I don't have a mirror, so how would I know? Yeah. Yeah. That is profound. Melissa says there are only triggers being in a relationship can trigger, at least for me. So that's when I will know it. and it will be interesting to see how many. Yeah, no, seriously, that notion of and I don't want to sound as though I'm trying to correct anyone, but the notion of you have to completely love yourself first in order to be in a healthy relationship, that's kind of a misconception, because sometimes it's in being in a healthy relationship that you learn how to love in a healthy way. I didn't know how to love in a healthy way until I met my husband. I just didn't know how. Honey, do you remember that? You remember how crazy I used to be? I still am crazy. What am I talking about? And it's okay. I seriously, I remember one day, I think I was pregnant. I was pregnant with one of the last kids. I was pregnant and I was crying, like hysterically crying, because I was like, I'm crazy. One day you're gonna realize that I'm crazy and you're gonna leave. And I never am like, oh, don't leave me. I'm always like, fine, fuck you then. Leave. Shit. I'd rather be by myself anyway. And I said that to him, and I think that definitely was a moment for him where I was like, what the and he got real upset. I still remember this. He got real upset, like really offended. And he was like, have you ever thought that maybe I like how fucking crazy you are? And I was like, oh, he likes crazy. Yeah. So it's really difficult for some to learn how to love healthily until they're in a relationship that teaches them how. It really, for me, it was impossible. Really, truly, it was impossible. And I absolutely credit my husband 100% with helping me learn this. Like that whole, my feeling of like, if he were ever to be unhappy and decide that he no longer wants to be with me, he wants to be with someone else, like my feeling, because this is what he's taught me about unconditional love, is that the least I could do is always, always, always want for you to be as happy as you've made me. He doesn't like basic. He says, I don't like basic. But seriously, that's the least that I could do to show the appreciation that I have for you teaching me in such a gentle way, a way that I needed, how to love so unconditionally. And then I had to sprinkle in my crazy and be like, you don't even have to move. We don't even have to live in separate houses. We don't need separate bank accounts. I'll be like, that's fine. Whatever, get your girlfriend a gift, but she better not be a bitch. She better not be mean to my kids. I will kick her ass in front of you. He's like, you're crazy. That's what he was like, you're crazy. But find someone. No, because I wasn't looking. When he popped up, I wasn't looking. I wasn't. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to be in relationships. I would rather be alone. Like, seriously, I would rather be alone. And I was actually about to move 2 hours away when we first met. I thought he was just going to be someone to go hang out with, watch movies with, whatever, for a few weeks before I moved. He sure proved me wrong. And it just happened the way it was meant to happen. It happened in accordance to what we agreed upon before coming into this life. This is not our first life together. It really, really isn't. It's not our first life together. I'm a soul stalker. I stalked him for many lives. But I knew the first time I did see him, though, that there was something different about his energy. I did know that. Actually, the first time I heard his name, before I even met him. I was like, who is that? I was already stalking you. No, we had to meet twice because the first time that I met him, neither of us were ready to start a journey together. And then I met him again a year later, and we didn't even realize we had met the year previously. But it's been a journey of really just allowing myself to learn in an organic way exactly what he's trying to show me. And it was almost impossible for him to get me to understand what unconditional love is, the kind of love that I deserve, the kind of love that he so freely gives me. It took several years of us being together, tumultuous years, before I was like, oh, that's what he means. Oh, okay. He's really not leaving. He really isn't gonna leave. And you know, being together 20 years at this point, it's taken me quite a few more years. Wait, do I have a session that started? Hold on, guys. So it took me quite a few more years because I am naturally a runner. I naturally have an inclination to just bolt. Not even joking. What? I'm out. And it took quite a few more years for me to realize, you know what? I can say that all I want, but I'm not out. I'm not out. I'm never going to be out. Never going to be out. Daryl says, what caused your awakening? I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I think I do know. I think there was a moment that we experienced a few years back where there was a very real possibility, a very, very, very real possibility that maybe the marriage was going to end. That maybe this was like the breaking point. And right there at that moment, it was like, no. You need to recognize all the shit that you're doing. And I was talking to myself. You need to recognize all the shit that you're doing that's forcing him to act in the ways that he acts to try and accommodate all of these ridiculous ass fears that you have, that you're placing upon his shoulders, forcing him to overcompensate. You know, like, it was just some stupid stuff. Like, what did I say? I was like, you're such a liar, because I think he didn't tell me that he had McDonald's or something like that. Or I don't even remember what it was. It was something stupid. And I was like, did you realize when you do shit like that, it makes me think you're fucking lying about so much worse shit. If you can lie about something so small like that, try and hide something that small. And then I recognized, like, well, because if you freak the fuck out like this on him off small shit, of course he's going to try and be like, oh my God, she's going to freak out because she's a health freak. And, you know, like she's going to be disappointed if she finds out I ate burgers today. So let me just hide the fact that I had McDonald's. Let me just not tell her. And when she asked me what I had for lunch, I'm going to look all fucking nervous and shit because, oh, fuck. If she finds out I have McDonald's, she's going to flip out. And then it was in that moment, I was like, you're the one doing this. You're forcing him to behave in this way because he loves you so much. He doesn't want to disappoint you. You make him feel as though he is not enough. So he feels like he has to go out of his way to be worthy of you. And even then, still not enough because you have to nitpick. And then when I recognized what I was doing, how I was actually the one that was not just co-creating that conflict, I was the one instigating it through my own insecurities, placing it on his shoulders. And how could you be mad at him? You know? Catherine Oracle Love says, I would have been upset because I would have wanted a McDonald's too. Well, I can't have McDonald's. I can't. I'm allergic to a lot of shit. But it's this knowing. When you know that you're co-creating something, can you really keep blaming the other person? Can you really? Can you really keep sitting there like, you know what? You're such a liar. You're such a this and that. But you're forcing them to. You're forcing them to not be honest with you. So then we had an understanding. After that point, we basically came to this understanding. No matter what, I'm going to be pissed at you. I'm going to always have a reason as to why you've pissed me off. Understand that. Accept that. That's the dynamic of our relationship. We're constantly bickering, nothing serious, just constantly disagreeing. And so what I'm going to need from you at this point is to stop trying to prove that you're worthy of being with me. Clearly, you're worthy of being with me because I have no problem taking off, dumping things that are not worthy of my time. And I'm still here, right? I'm still here. So clearly, you need to stop that. And you need to just be like, look, I'm a fucking man. If I want to have McDonald's, I'm going to eat some fucking McDonald's. And that was our conversation. I'm not even joking. That was how the conversation went. And I was just like, wouldn't you rather I be pissed at you because I'm just being pissy how I always am versus I'm pissed at you because now I think you're lying to me about shit? And he's like, you right. I'm gonna fucking have more McDonald's. Well, go ahead then. But if you fucking die off a heart attack, I'm bringing your ass back so I can cuss you out proper. So what kind of dynamic are you creating? Is it a sacred union where there's a lot of flex to it? There's a lot of give? Or is it something very, very rigid where it has to be your way? Because if it has to be your way and the person is being dishonest, the person is keeping secrets, then you created that. Okay, you instigated that. And if you're not going to do your part to correct what you instigated, then it's not going to work. It takes a lot of accountability. In order for the union to be a sacred one, it takes a lot of accountability for each individual. You have to not just love yourself. You have to love them enough and recognize they are a mirror of an internal circumstance being expressed externally. Okay? Mamie's still working on it. Me too. Yeah, see? She gets it. She gets it. Amy gets it. She says that was our situation too. It took a while to realize that I was the creator of so much disharmony in our relationship by making him feel insecure over piddly crap due to my own stuff. Yeah, I recognize that it was my own insecurities that he was having to swim through in order to keep up. I mean, this is a man who, he doesn't tell me don't run. He's like, are you going to run? Okay, I'm put on my running shoes. I'm going to run right beside you. Keep running. Keep running. I'm going to run too. And that's a beautiful thing because At no point in 20 years has he ever told me or made me feel like there was anything within me that needed to be changed. Ever, ever, ever. Daddy, Milky Bar Kid says he's my destiny. You agree with that? Is he on? Is he still on this live? I'm gonna call my husband Milky Bar Kid. I'll call him right now. Oh, he's here. Okay.
I said here.
Yes, I know you said here. What are your thoughts on this, Milky Bar Kid?
About dudes can handle.
You don't think he can handle me?
Nah.
I think you're right.
I don't even know what the hell he's talking about, man. You should stick to your milk.
He needs some juice. He needs some milk. All right, bye. Yeah, Milky Bar Kid, we've come to the consensus that you can't handle me. I'm sorry. Let me just hold a second. Give me 1 second, guys. I just got to take care of something. One second. It's just loading really slow. So yeah, you have to have accountability. Both of you need to be accountable for the ways in which the circumstance is co-created. And just own what you did. Own what you did. Own how you co-created it. Take responsibility for your decisions, for your actions. Like, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I hate that I don't know how to work YouTube yet. I just hate that. Okay. So, yeah. What do you guys think about all this information? What do you guys think about it? It does take courage to look at your own insecurities. And it's within the relationship. If you can find yourself open to learning everything you need to learn within the relationship, then every relationship can be a sacred one, regardless of soulmate, twin flame, F-boy status. It don't really matter. It don't really matter. What matters is that you're open to learning the ways in which these individuals are helping you to get that much closer to grasping exactly what this self-love is about. It's not about having perfected the self-love thing before you start any relationship. It's really a lot to do with what Melissa was saying, that they serve as mirrors, because they do. They serve as mirrors, and they show these things from deep within us that we're not willing to see yet. We're not ready to see. And that's probably why they're put on your path. You know, this notion of you need to be in a monogamous long-term relationship, it's not for everyone. Not being in a monogamous long-term relationship does not equate failure on your part in some way, because you can't live life by numbers. You really, really can't. It's just like spirituality. You live life in accordance to what you need to learn in this life. Not everyone is meant to have a child. Not everyone is meant to get married. Not everyone is meant to be in a long-term relationship. Some of us come into this life needing to experience as many people as possible. Some of us come into this life needing to experience, the flesh with as many people as possible. Does that make them a bad person? No, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Some of us, just need to be open to recognizing that this prescription for life that we've been convinced all of us are supposed to take, these pills that are hard to swallow, sometimes it's toxic for some of us. Sometimes it's really, really toxic. You have to just love yourself enough to live. Live in whatever way is appropriate for your soul needs, not preferences. I'm talking about soul needs. Like some of us want to be in a relationship so bad. But what we really need is that stillness, that solitude, so we can sift through the wreckage of our hearts, see the pieces that are needing to be, realigned so that we can begin the process of fortifying ourselves, returning back to our original state of fortification. But we're not going to do that if we keep jumping from relationship to relationship. And maybe that's where the self-love thing comes in, where, you have to love yourself enough to be able to stand alone for a little bit. And maybe the first sacred union should be with ourselves. Maybe that's what it is. Because within each of us is both the masculine and the feminine. We have both genders within each of us. And so what if we work on that union first? And that was something my husband also taught me without realizing he was teaching it to me, where I am very masculine. I'm very, very masculine in real life. And he's okay with that. He's okay with that. He's like, it's fine. You're fine. But I can also be very soft and feminine. And he loves that too. So I'm seeing even more so now that I'm like talking about it so much. He is a mirror of everything within me that I've refused to acknowledge. Is one of my babies crying? Oh no, that's the dog. Daddy, I think Shibi's is crying. Joy is crying. Oh, someone's in the garage already. Okay, it's not one of my babies. But I think that's what his presence in my life, he's mirroring all of these things that I've haven't been comfortable acknowledging. Like I do recognize my intrinsic worth. I do recognize my value. And I haven't quite gotten to the point yet where I'm comfortable really tooting my own horn. I just feel like it's obnoxious. But I do see that he is reflecting that, where he recognizes I'm here unique in my purpose. And there's so much value to that. That's crazy. I never thought of it. I never thought of it that way. Because he'd be too. Would you stop? Do you know who my wife is? Would you stop? No, they don't know who your wife is. Why would they know who your wife is? Would you stop? We be stopping at freaking RV places. Like, can you just not? Can you just not? Can you please just not tell people what I do? Just stop. And he's like, what? I'm proud of my wife. They don't need to be knowing. But I guess they do need to be knowing. I don't know. I need to think about this a little bit more. It still makes me uncomfortable. It's still really like, why do you gotta tell people? Why? I don't know why. I don't know why. I guess maybe the better question for me to ask myself is, why do I not want people to know so badly? Why is it so important for me to stay hidden when clearly I'm not supposed to stay hidden? Clearly. So I just follow his lead. I follow his lead. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I cannot. He does that everywhere we go. It's embarrassing. You hear me, Frey? That's embarrassing. He's so friendly too. Just thinking him and his Gemini ways is so friendly and charming. And then he's like saying hello to people and talking. And I come back 5 minutes later and he has his phone out. And he looks back and he's smiling. God damn it, why are you showing people again? Stop showing people that shit. Stop it. So, yeah, back to the sacred union stuff. Take accountability for what you are co-creating. Every circumstance in your life you have co-created either through action or lack thereof. Own it. Okay? Open yourself to learning whatever it is this individual that is with you right now is trying to gift you with. They're there in front of you for a reason. Okay? And you have to allow yourself to receive. What ends up happening if you don't allow yourself to receive that lesson, it will cycle back around. Someone else will be brought with the same lesson, most likely more intense, because the soul is very efficient. If you refuse to learn it the first time, the lesson becomes more intense, so you learn it the second time. It makes it harder for you to refuse that lesson. Now, if you just go ahead and give yourself permission to learn the first time, you won't have the kind of struggles that you have. And you don't have to already know how to love yourself to be in a healthy relationship. Sometimes the relationship is brought to you to teach you exactly how to do that. And that's the case for me. You know, he had to be brought to me for me to learn exactly what self-love is. I thought self-love was just like a stupid American thing. I'm Filipino, okay? I was born in the Philippines. I got dual citizenship. I still resonate with the Philippines. Don't hate on me. Go ahead and hate on me. I don't care. I'm still for the Philippines. That's the self-love stuff. But you know, I will say, since I've been taking care of my mom, she'd be watching TFC, and it's like nonstop TFC. I'm so addicted to those goddamn shows. Oh my God, I'm so addicted to those damn shows. And I love seeing the fact that my people are evolving. They are raising in their dimensional level of consciousness. I hear them talking about love and light on their shows that everyone watches. They're talking about sovereignty. They're talking about, oh my God, I'm just like, what? And it's just in the past like week or so. And I'm just like, what's going on? Is this Twilight Zone? I had to ask my mom, what the fuck are you watching? What are you watching? And she goes, it's my show. Well, let's keep watching it. What, is this on every day? And they talk about loving yourself. There's this one show, I don't know what it is. It's like a talk show. They talk about momshies or whatever. They call moms momshies. What the fuck is that? Momshi. So they bring on couples, and it's just beautiful to witness because they have men, famous men, superstars of the country coming on, and and expressing in a very soft way how much they love their wife, the way in which they love their wife, like a real effort to heal a patriarchal people. The Philippines was colonized and very, very much forced into a patriarchal system. Before we were colonized, the indigenous peoples of the Philippines, we were matriarchal. You know, our shamans were women, and the men who became shamans were actually transgender. So we were originally, in original state, a patriarchal people, matriarchal people, and then we were colonized and we became patriarchal, and it's a very macho culture. And to see these men are like, no, I'm not under my wife, I'm in love with her. What did you just say? Oh my god. I legit nearly dropped what I was doing. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? And my mom was in tears, and I was like, why are you crying? What's wrong? Are you hurt? What's wrong? I was like, oh, is it what you're watching? She goes, oh, Mom. You know, it's beautiful to see the healing, the rise of the feminine to equal the masculine, so we can rise together. And that's what this talk really is. That's what this talk really, really is about. It's about that equality. It's about recognizing that as a man, if you love your wife, it's not a show of weakness. It's not a show that she dominates you. And as a woman, to be able to recognize the need sometimes for a man to be, you know, a little more dominant around you, that's not a show of weakness either. That's, you know, and I don't necessarily subscribe to feminism, but I am about empowering women. And sometimes we have to recognize the most powerful thing you can do as a woman is allow someone else to take care of you. Personally, for me, my personal journey, that was a moment of power for me. Being able to admit to myself that, yeah, I can do this shit on my own. I really, really can. I'm strong enough. But why am I so afraid to be vulnerable enough to allow someone else to do this with me and for me? Why is that? What am I so afraid of? If I'm so powerful, if I'm so strong, I can allow someone else to love me in such a way that they can do this for me. And I can give them that trust, that deep level of trust as they do this for me, so that I can learn. Not everyone is going to screw you over, Emmy. Not everyone is out to get you. Everyone is going to use you, lie to you, do all of these really fucked up shit that you're waiting for people to do. And maybe in that waiting for you to have these things done to you, you're the one manifesting it. Maybe in the relationship that you're in, where this other person that you love, this goes beyond a heterosexual union. Maybe the relationship that you're in is one that is helping you to learn these things, these very things, so you can stop manifesting these cycles from repeating over and over and over within your life. Because really though, I mean, I've had the same cycles over and over and over. And finally, I just had to be like, what the fuck? Daddy, am I doing this? And he goes, well, you're picking the people. And I'm like, what do you mean? So I'm doing this? I'm creating this? And he was like, you're not asking people to do this to you, but you kind of are, because you know that when you give too much, this is the shit that happens, and you still keep giving too much. And I'm just like, you're right. So I am doing that. It is me. I am kind of choosing this. Yeah. I mean, everyone by default, your existence means you deserve love. But no, not by the default of your existence does that mean you should be able to access me and have your way with me. And that's something that I'm learning. That's something that I'm still in the process of learning. I'm done with that lesson. It's going to keep cycling back around to test me to see exactly how done I am, but I'm done with that lesson. I don't need to hurt again to understand that lesson. I think I've enough. I'm just saying, I think I've learned enough with that. I think it's time for me to move on to other lessons that are needing to be learned. This entire life, you're going to spend learning lessons all the way up until your last breath. The day you graduate from the lessons of life is the day you take your last breath. This entire life is one continuous series of lessons. And whether you fail or pass is irrelevant. There is no grade. You're not graded. It's a mastery system. Once you master that lesson, you move on to the next. Mastery, meaning you've learned it to the depth that you need to learn. You've mastered it. You are not a master, but you have mastered that lesson. But, you know, I could be wrong. Michael. When I said, but you know, Michael goes, don't say it. Because he knew I was going to say, but I could be wrong. Why do you want me to say that? He wants me to get off. That's, oh my gosh. That is Michael basically telling me to get off the live. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat on sacred unions and sacred relationships. This extends far beyond any label you could ever affix to any individual. This goes beyond heterosexual relationships, beyond LGBT relationships. This goes into the deep core of what you're here to learn. Allow the people in your journey to be the mirror that you need at that moment. Allow them to be the person you need them to be. And sometimes that's someone who is very kind, very gentle, very generous with their love and energy. Other times that is someone who is very mean, very firm, very gruff, their touch very painful. And it's not because that's all you deserve. It's because in that moment, the person is gifting you an opportunity to learn a lesson that you have refused to learn any other way. We have to make better choices. If we don't like the way we are learning these lessons, then we have to choose the more compassionate option of learning it. Because you're always, always, always the final say in how that lesson will be learned. Always, you are the final say. So choose wisely, guys. Choose wisely. I choose my husband. I love him. All right, I'm going to end this live. Thank you so much for joining. If this resonated with you in any way, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I shall be going live. Well, I'm going to go live later on today to finish the Claire Tarots and the Twin Flame reading. Yeah, I'll see you guys very, very soon. So let's just end this live. Bye, YouTube.